Y'all know what it is.
So let's talk a little bit about you were saying that one of the primary things that you guys do is content around thought leadership and things like this. This is become one of those things that has become wildly popular. A lot of people are trying to get in on the content marketing game. So there are a lot of people writing articles, publishing things, doing all this kind of stuff. But I wanted to ask you a couple things about that. First of all, do you think there's still room in the content marketing space to grow? Is there becoming an oversaturation of stuff, or how do you separate the wheat from the chaff? And then finally, how do you sort of promote this stuff? How do you get these things out there? I understand personal blogs and things like this, but how do you actually generate traffic and ultimately an ROI off of doing that kind of work?
Yeah. So your first question, yes, I think there's absolutely plenty of room still for content. And I totally see where your question comes from. And the reality is, as the volume of content grows out there in the digital space, there's the amount of garbage content is just growing at even a faster pace, because everybody's like, all right, I got to do content. Let's just spit out a bunch of whatever. Right. But the place to differentiate yourself is if you can pull the expertise from your team, from the true subject matter experts, focus less on volume and more on super high quality stuff that is, going to really resonate with the most important people at the exact types of companies that you're trying to reach. It's becoming harder and harder to win the search engine optimization game. And so whereas 10 years ago, I might have said, yeah, write a few articles around the most important keywords that are for the most important people. And soon you'll start ranking and for some companies that's still going to work, but as the saturation of content grows, it's becoming harder to win that game in the short term. So I think, you have to approach it as, SEO is the long play. That's the long game in a lot of ways, but you need this base of content to, build equity in your website, to teach the search engines that you're a great source of information around very specific topics for specific people. But then you got to pair that with things that are more proactive in nature. So it's so easy to target these days. You can put a little paid media budget behind a really great piece of content that you wrote or filmed, whatever medium you're using, and say, tell LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube or whatever social platform your customers maybe use, and say, hey, show this to people who fit these characteristics and those people only. Show this to design engineers from, mid-size manufacturing companies on the Eastern Seaboard with these job titles, or, whatever. It's, and that's how you can amplify the content. And I think the difference between advertising now in the digital space and 5 or 10 years ago is, you got to move away from the message that's all about you and focus on that exceptional content, and then just getting it in front of as many of the right people as possible. So that's kind of my answer to that.